Vague refers to something that is unclear or imprecise in its meaning or intention. Inconsistent, on the other hand, refers to something that does not remain the same or is not uniform in its behavior or quality.
Checking the mic.
Wait, hang on. Lou,
right.
Where are you at?
Where's Lou? He is actually not on Colored People Time this week. He is he's not having a medical emergency. His girl maybe is. So we'll see what happens.
He's being an ENT.
Maybe he'll join us. Maybe he won't.
Yeah.
So we'll see. Maybe he's at the emergency room right now. Who knows?
But not for him.
No,
he's only
not for him. No.
Oh, I guess it is 202025. So he technically
is it a rolling calendar or is it an actual calendar?
That's true. Yeah. I mean, he's already had his stroke for the year, so
I'm sure he's just like stressing her out.
Oh yeah. Yeah. I have a feeling that Lou is not fun to be sick around.
Just feel better. What's wrong with you?
Yeah. Just suck it up. Come on.
It's all in your head.
Yeah. Stop making it up. Do I not give you enough attention already? But that being said, hopefully it's nothing too big of a deal.
Exactly.
Yeah. So
how are you doing? Maybe he'll be back next week and we can talk more football.
Yeah. Yeah, we'll have we'll be able to talk Super Bowl this time next week. So but
I thought the games were all right this weekend. I watched the Chiefs game hoping to see them lose. And then Mahomes flopped like a little bitch. At least they didn't give him that call.
Yeah. I read that they've already gave the Bills 2 roughing the passer penalties for next week.
Yeah, I'm sure they have.
But
and then that was the only other game I watched this week was the Bills game.
Oh, so you were an AFC guy this weekend?
I guess so.
Yeah. I watched like the end of the Lions Commies game.
Oh, I did watch that. I caught the end of that one too. Yeah,
which was enjoyable because the Lions have been very, very full of themselves. So to see them get humbled,
I would like to see them go all the way though. For Emmett.
And then the last game was the Eagles versus the Rams. And that was I watched a little bit of that game. It was a snowy game, man.
Yeah, I saw we had gone to the movies today, so I think I caught like the tail end of it as we were walking through the casino. I'm like,
yeah,
that is a lot of snow.
Yeah. But I mean, I think all 4 games were pretty solid. There were no like super big blowouts or anything like that.
No, they all had a chance, I think.
Yeah. Nice to see Jared Goof turn back into Jared Goof,
right?
And just put up some ducks. But yeah, so we have. I guess we won't be able. We'll have to edit in at the end Lou's picks for the week for next weekend and what he thinks the spread is.
He'll have to comment on the Facebook page.
Exactly. Well, no, he'll have to comment everywhere. He'll be the first comment that we've gotten on 95% of the social media.
Well, TikTok's back up, so we'll have him record a little something for that.
Lou's picks of the week
only on TikTok.
But besides that, quiet weekend on this end. Not a whole lot going on.
Same. Like I said, we went to the movies today. We saw Mufasa.
Yeah,
I liked it. It didn't have to be made, but I enjoyed it. It was entertaining. If Lou saw it, the bad guys in the movie were white lions. Just saying.
Yeah.
But I wasn't expecting. So the Disney intro comes out. They do the castle, the fireworks, and all that shit.
Yeah.
Then the screen goes black, and you hear from the cartoon Mufasa talking about, "I'll always be with you. Just look up in the stars."
Yeah.
And it says, "In remembrance of James Earl Jones." I was like, it just started. Is this up? Why am I crying already?
Why you gotta get me from the jump, Disney? God damn you.
But I didn't mind it. Like when it first came out and it's like, oh, Scar or Taka is like the prince and now Mufasa's king. I was like, wow, Mufasa just like goes in there and fucking snakes him. That is not how it played out. It played out differently. And it played out satisfactorily to why Mufasa is king.
Okay.
Yeah.
So they
it's
did a
worth
good
checking
job.
out. When it's on Disney Plus, it's worth checking out.
Well, there you go.
But today was National Popcorn Day, so all the theaters had like different popcorn promotions. And since we are a Cinemark family, it was a bring your own bucket up to 400 ounces.
Jesus.
And they'll fill it for $5.
How big is 400 ounces in a bucket?
2 extra large popcorns.
But each of you could bring your own.
Exactly, for $5. People were walking up in there with Home Depot buckets.
Because they stopped at Home Depot and bought them.
Exactly. We brought one of the girls' trick-or-treat pails. But the extra large popcorns were only $5 anyways, so you buy that, and you get a refill on it. So it all worked out to 400 ounces. So much popcorn.
I don't even know why you went out to dinner tonight, because it sounds like you got popcorn for
days,
a period of time.
Weeks.
Yeah.
Although if the little one gets hungry, we want to put her on her meds, it'll be gone. It's probably gone now. Because we came out to the casita to watch the Bills game, because big one was playing Fallout. I'm like, she hasn't played for a while, so I'm like, let's just go out there and watch it. And little one came with us. She ate probably half a bag of a big bag of M&Ms. She got some Girl Scout trail mix something or another. She ate a bunch of that. She had 3 applesauce pouches. And then she still ate a quesadilla and most of her french fries when we went out to eat. And she only weighs 45 pounds.
I think she ate 45 pounds today.
At least. Ridiculous.
Yeah, that's a lot of food. And you're like, okay, I don't have anything left in the casita. What?
Yeah.
How's the casita coming together, by the way? Have you made any progress on it, or?
No, like I said, I'm not doing anything with it until the old house is cleared out. So I'm still working on that.
Yeah, because you don't want to be putting stuff up and then all of a sudden you bring in another box of shit you didn't know you had.
Doing the casita is going to be fun, I think. So I don't want to reward myself until the hard work is done. But I've started going back on the days I don't have early work. So cleaning out a little bit here and there.
Nice.
It's almost done. I still have a bookshelf and a table or something I got to bring over from my old man cave. It's coming along, though.
And then you could finally put it up on the market.
Exactly.
Be one less thing that you got to pay a mortgage on, which will be nice, I'm sure.
Yeah, for real.
Anything else going on this week? Just work, just normal stuff?
Yeah,
any exciting work stories?
Well, somebody decided to microwave a Jack-in-the-Box cluck sandwich.
Nice.
So it was in the foil pouch.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm just saying, microwave's been around since the 50s. We've never been able to put metal in them.
All right. You say that, but I've bought a couple in the last month or so. I have bought a couple of those single serve, double serve meals, the turkey breast or whatever, and they come in a aluminum tin with a plastic top. And I was was looking for the directions.
Mm-hmm.
It said in bold print. I was like, oh, what do I got to heat the oven up to? Blah blah blah.
Right.
And I flip it over, and it's if your microwave was made after the 80s, you could put this in your microwave. And I was like, is Safeway fucking with me? So I was like, well, I've had my microwave for 15 years. I'm like, what's the worst that can happen? I got to buy a new microwave.
15 years ago.
Yeah,
okay.
Minus carry the 2. And so I put it in. It came out fine. No problems. No popping. No nothing. So I wonder if it's the type of metal.
Yeah.
So, but then we had a month where everybody was like, oh, your black cookware, the cheap shit from Dollar Tree and Walmart was made out of recycled tires or some shit. Somebody started that. So who the fuck knows, man? But I've cooked too in the microwave with the metal trays and haven't had any problems. So
interesting.
I'm guessing you're there. I don't know.
The microwave doesn't look that old.
Yeah. I'm sure it's been, before it became a magic oven. What did Jennifer Lawrence call it in American Hustle? The magic. I think it was a magic oven.
Yeah.
But yeah, so maybe it's a type of metal.
Right.
I don't know. All I know is in big bold letters it says, put this shit in the microwave. And I went, okay, Safeway, sure.
You guys
didn't even
have, I guess.
The crazy part is they didn't even have oven directions. And that was the first time I'd seen that. Because usually they'll give you both.
You get an option.
You want to do it in the microwave? Cool. You want to do it in the oven? This one was like, nah, microwave, son. I'm like, okay, fine, sure.
Safeway said it was okay.
I did take pictures, so if it did blow up my microwave, I could go back to Safeway and be like,
you owe me a microwave.
Yeah. But
So
But
I'm gonna have to look into that.
I had downloaded Craven way back in the day, and I ended up watching it this week.
And
it was fine. I mean, it's again, it's a Sony Spider-Man movie, and that bar is set so freaking low these days.
So low.
But I also don't have, like, as far as like Spider-Man's villains, I also don't have like a huge adherence to, like, oh my god, the comics, he did this, and he needs to be this and he needs to do that. Like, I don't have Magneto and stuff like that on the Marvel side. I feel like I have a lot more like
knowledge or
history with, or whatever.
Okay.
But I mean, it was fine.
Like, was it violent and bloody? And
no, not really.
Really? Like they went. I mean, they called it rated R, and the trailers look bloody.
It was, but it wasn't. Like, I expected way more for it being rated R. Right? To be honest with you, most of the stuff that you saw, as far as the trailers go, was most of the blood. Like, that was, there wasn't like a big fight scene at the end where there was a bunch of blood and a bunch of whatever, right? Like, I mean, the big fight, this isn't spoilers because they already tell you who the bad guy is. Right. But I mean, even like the big fight between Rhino and Kraven is just all CGI, and then it's done. Like, it was obvious, like, I don't know, I would be curious to see, like, how much was reshot and stuff, because I feel like my comment on the movie was it was excessively CGI, that you could tell. So it wasn't done well. Like, there were multiple times they do a 2-shot in the car, and you could tell the stuff in the background was on a screen. They were in the volume.
Right.
Like, some of that stuff in Mandalorian where you're like, that doesn't look real. At least put some effort. And I felt like
not really in space.
Yeah. But I felt like there was a lot of that in Kraven, where it was just real obvious CGI that just wasn't. And again, I am not a VFX guy. I respect the shit out of those guys, but I also know that those guys are under a time crunch, and I've been friends with those guys in the past, knowing that sometimes you just got to put it out. You can't give it a 35th wipe that you want to make sure it's dialed in. Like, they're just like, you got to have it in on Tuesday morning at 8 so we can move on. And you just give them the best that you got. And I don't know if it was the original photography wasn't great to start with, or that maybe there wasn't like a clear vision as far as what they wanted to see at the end of the day. But the CGI to me was pretty obvious throughout. And I feel like these days that to me is setting a bar, because I think we're in an area where, I mean, holy shit, not even 30 years ago, we're going to see Phantom Menace in digital, and we're like, oh my god, what the
wow, so amazing.
Yeah.
But even a lot of the examples they use is Davy Jones in the second Pirates movie.
Yeah.
Like, that was freaking amazing. That was early 2000-ish?
Mm-hmm.
And now it's like these guys are putting like Tron type effects together, and there's like, yep, here you go.
Yeah. I mean, Tron is, again, another example where the majority of that movie is some level of CGI.
Mm-hmm.
Just because it's necessitated,
right.
But then,
But it was also the 80s.
Yeah. But I feel like, I think a lot of these too, it's like, Sony comes out and says, well, we got to have this movie done by this date, and you just go with what you have, I actually don't know how much was reshot, or if any of it was reshot or whatever. But, I mean, it could be its own isolated movie. Again, there was no mention of Spider-Man at all. The Daily Bugle was in the newspaper was used a few times. That was about as deep as they got with kind of Spider-Man references. There wasn't like a scene at the end, kind of like Venom, where, Kraven's in the house with his furry jacket on, and he looks at the TV and sees Spider-Man and is like, ooh, the ultimate catch, or whatever. Like, that, nothing like that happened.
Yeah, it's weird that they've never done anything with Spider-Man in any of those movies.
Yeah. Well, I don't think they can. I think it's like a legal thing because of the contract they have with Marvel.
So weird.
So, like, they can suggest that it's in the same universe. Again, the inference is that was Peter Parker at the end of Madam Web that was born, right? But they couldn't say his name. Right. They couldn't refer to Ben as Ben Parker. He was just Ben,
Right.
And she was just May, and that was it, right? But if you know, right? Like,
so weird.
But yeah, I mean, again, it's it's one of those things where if this was 20 years ago and Marvel was still trying not to be absorbed by somebody else, you know, when they were on the skids. Not even sure if they were going to survive. I'm sure this would be having a completely different discussion.
Yeah.
So, I guess 30 years. I don't know.
Whatever.
Time
It's a long
dilation,
time
man.
ago. We're old as fuck.
Yeah, we are. We're getting there. Yeah. Yeah, it's funny when you see like people who like you saw in movies and stuff like that, and they're like, "Oh, he's 53," and you're like, "Oh shit!" Like people you saw in like TV shows and stuff that were like, you know, he's a teenager like me, and now you're like, "Oh shit, so and so is like 55," and you're like, "Oh, like,
well, me too."
You're not that, you're not that far. You know, I'm chasing you, not that far.
Well, think of it. We've been friends 26 years in fucking April, dude. We've known each other like our entire lives at this point.
Yeah, yeah.
I mean,
yeah. There's only
we've
couple
grown
things
old together.
Yeah, exactly. Just we're going to be sitting on the back porch at some senior home,
right?
Well, okay, your house, because
pretty much.
You know, that's when
I
retire.
I'm just together.
Yeah. When I retire, I'm just moving to Vegas and just going to live in the casita on my fixed income.
Yep. Just don't fall in the pool.
And I'll still have to drive Uber or fucking DoorDash or some shit.
Yep.
Like,
as long as it keeps you young.
Speaking of that, I follow the guy who did the voice of Brack in Space Ghost. That motherfucker drives Amazon right now.
Wow.
Like, that's how bad off those guys are, man. I'm like, what the fuck? You did the voice of Brack, dude. Like,
right?
Like you should at least be doing, you should be doing okay. Like,
right?
But he's like, oh, I got a gig for 6 months, so I'm going to leave Amazon. I'm like, motherfucker, you work for Amazon? And then he had took a selfie and he has like the Amazon. And I was like, oh, shit, man, I'm sorry. Like, fuck, like you were part of my childhood, dude. Like, you know, I don't know. It sucks. Like you see people like that and you think that they're doing well and then they're not, you know? So
how badass would that be that like you actually answer the door for Amazon once? He's like, yeah, buddy.
Yeah, no shit. Or he calls and he's like, hey, this is Brack. I can't find your house. Where are you at? I would just actually put that as a note. Just, do you have any notes for the driver? If it's Brack, can you have him call me, please?
Please. And then you definitely think you tell your Alexa to thank your Amazon driver.
Mm-hmm.
Can you thank him like 5 times?
Yeah.
He needs all the tips.
Perfect.
Does he know where Thundercleese is?
No, exactly. But yeah, so
that was a good show.
Yeah, I mean that whole bank, the late 90s, early 2000s Adult Swim is some of the best, in my humble opinion.
Yes.
The best kind of block. That was our 80s TV, right? Like we had 80s TV, but I feel like we missed it a little bit because I mean, I remember G.I. Joe, He-Man, Thundercats. I remember all of them, but I don't remember them, right? Like it's more just kind of
break down like the stories.
Right. But if you say, oh, hey, like tell me about, you know, Space Ghost and tell me about, oh, shit, dude, like that was Adult Swim, like Brack Show, Adult Aqua Teen Hunger Force, you know. That was when I watched Cowboy Bebop from beginning to end because they started showing it sequentially, like, which nobody did with cartoons back then. You would just get whatever.
Here's another episode.
But even so much of their late night anime stuff was, besides Cowboy Bebop, was all just whatever. They weren't playing any other series in order, you know?
Right.
So that was like a Sunday night.
Yeah, I think that was our anime night was Sunday.
Yeah. So late nights, back when I could hang. Now I'm like,
it's 9 p.m. I gotta go to bed.
When I say 8:30 and Lou's like, what time zone? West Coast?
Hello? West Coast? 2/3 of us are over here.
The only time zone that matters.
Yeah. Well, there's other time zones.
Yeah. One.
Pacific.
Hawaiian.
GMT -8 or something.
Yeah. So, what about you? As far as like cartoons and stuff goes, like what's like I said, the ones I remember, it's like I vaguely remember them.
Right.
I think I remember more of the whole experience, right? It's buying the toys. It's, you know,
for
getting
those,
home at
yes. Like the first time I remember like watching cartoons and like being interested in the stories, probably Ninja Turtles. Because that was also one of the first times I noticed that the stories carried on from episode to episode. At least the early episodes were like the first season or two. It would be like, okay, this happened last episode, and then we're like building on that. Whereas like G.I. Joe, He-Man, all that, they were just 30 minutes. Nothing to do with nothing.
Yeah. Unless they were like a mini. They would do, sometimes they would have like 3 or 4 episodes.
Like when Hordak came around, I think there was like almost a little mini movie, like 3-4 episodes that were all related to the Horde coming. Or the Cobra Law stuff with Serpentor and stuff before the movie.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, Ninja Turtle was like, oh, that's actually building on. It's like, hey, if you didn't watch this episode, then you're kind of lost. And then after that was the Batman the Animated Series, which is the best Batman ever. I will fight you and I will die on that hill. Christian Bale was cool. I like Heath Ledger. But Mark Hamill and Conway, goats.
For sure.
Plus, they gave us Harley.
Yep. And where would your life be if she didn't exist? How much money would you have?
This is true. I'd have 2 casitas instead of 1 casita filled with Harley stuff.
You'd have an auxiliary casita as well.
In fact, I even got a little tiny Harley recently.
Nice.
Just little babies.
Is that I'm guessing that's a blind box type thing?
No, it's what were they? Imagine Techs, I think, is what they are.
That's like the new Little People, right?
Yeah. Like it's done by Mattel or somebody like that. But yeah.
But yeah.
But also, I think that's all. It's given me a love for voice actors, just cartoons in general.
Yeah.
I love voice actors, cartoons, video games, all that stuff. I have a lot of respect for those people that they can create a voice and that they can replicate it. Like, I'll make a funny accent, I'll never be able to do it again. But these guys go years, unless like some of them just use a regular voice. The guy that does Beast Boy, he just sounds like Beast Boy all the time. He also did Michelangelo in the 2012 Turtle series. Sounds exactly the same. And he's actually in the second Fast and the Furious movie. He's like the
Tokyo
drug
Drift?
dealer. No, with Tyrese
and
Luda.
Well,
He's one of the
that was
drug
the third
dealers. The third one's Tokyo Drift. He's like, he plays this drug dealer or something. They bust because they need to like take his identity or something. And he's like, "What's up, nutsack?" I'm like, "Yes, Beast Boy said nutsack."
But yeah, I mean, same. I mean, yeah, I think we've had a lot of conversations about people who've done voices, and like you almost have more respect for them than like a normal actor, because like a normal actor, like they got the makeup and the hair and the, all of that stuff. Instead, it's like, hey, we want you to make this guy sound like he's from Jersey, but like this particular part of Jersey, right?
Yep.
And but then the cool thing is you do have people like, the guy who did Spike's voice for the Americanized Cowboy Bebop is prolific. The guy who did the voice from Nathan Drake from Uncharted, the same thing. Like, right. Just a very, when you hear them, you go, the guy who did Optimus Prime, the guy who did, Megatron,
right.
like this, all these, everybody, you're like, oh yeah, like that guy.
Yeah, I can hear it. I recognize that voice.
But yeah, the ones that are able to change their voice and make it just with nothing, right? You're in a room with a bunch of padding and a piece of paper in front of you that tells you what you're supposed to say, and that's it.
Yeah. Well, it's like I've met D. Bradley Baker a couple times. He does the clones. His voice sounds nothing like that, but he can switch into the Bad Batch and have a conversation as the Bad Batch with himself, switching voices like on a fly. And it's just amazing to see them work sometimes. Just the stuff they can come up with, the voices that come out of their mouths.
Well, I mean, somebody like Matthew Wood, who was Grievous in episode 2, like the fact that he's been able to still get steady work with Lucasfilm since then, as I think he's on basically every single animated, even some non-animated stuff. If you look at like additional voices, like he's always under there doing something, right? Whether it's just voices in the crowd or whatever. Like,
I think he just sneaks himself in there because he is the sound guy.
Yeah. He's like,
yes,
I would fit in perfect. I would fit in perfect here.
I can do this guy's voice.
It's always cool to see them pop up on. I did see the girl who did the voice of Edward lost her house in the LA fires. So I saw like a GoFundMe thing for her.
There's $20, man.
Yep. Yeah, that'll help out a lot.
Get Ein some food.
Yeah. But yeah, agreed. The work that they put in, I think especially when they have to, you have like, was it James Arnold Taylor who does Obi-Wan? Like the fact that you already have this pre-existing voice that everybody who was born in the last 50 years is, hyper familiar with, and you have to try to match that.
Right. Yeah. I mean, he's spent more time than Alec Guinness and Ewan playing Obi-Wan. I mean, if you say Obi-Wan, it's got to be James Arnold Taylor.
Yeah.
That is him.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, no, I just have a huge respect for those guys. Just watching them work, even like down to the guys that do the Muppets. Not necessarily Jim Henson himself, amazing person, but just the guys that perform them. Like, I've taken the girls to see them at Comic-Con a couple times. And
Nice.
just to see them like embody those characters, like you see them with their hands up the puppets, but like they disappear once they're doing, Elmo and Abby and stuff. You don't even notice because they're just so good at that performance that they just disappear into the background.
Yeah. But that's the point, right?
Exactly.
Like, you're supposed to see Elmo. You're not supposed to see Henry or whatever,
Right. The guy that isn't a gay rapist.
Yeah.
Allegedly. He also played Splinter in the Ninja Turtle movies. Kevin Clash, I think is his name. But yeah, he's Elmo, and he was also Splinter in the Ninja Turtle movies.
But wasn't him. He just did the voice.
Correct. Yeah. Because he was I think Splinter was all a puppet in those movies because he was like too short and scrawny. And it was just the turtles that were.
Well, and Shredder.
Oh, yeah.
Kevin Nash. But I don't think he did the voice. I think that was somebody else as well.
Yeah, they probably had the same guy do the voice that played normal Shredder.
Yeah, on the TV, on the cartoon. We'd have to look that up.
In the movie, they had an actor playing Shredder. Uh-huh. Kevin Nash only came in for Super Shredder when he got big and buff.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
But the guy that did the voice for Shredder in the cartoon was Uncle Phil from The Fresh Prince.
Ah, yeah. Rest in power. Uncle Phil.
Speaking of which, that show, I think, The Fresh Prince, is our generation's I Love Lucy, I think.
Yeah? You think so?
I think so.
All right.
It's just like very wholesome family show.
Like 90s.
Yeah.
20 years ago, we're probably having that conversation about the Cosby Show, but he did a really good job of that in hindsight.
I do wish they would bring back Pudding Pops, though. Those were delicious.
They'd have to call them something else, though. They couldn't. I think there's too much baggage with the term Pudding Pops now, so.
They wouldn't even put Jell-O on it.
It would just have to be, they'd have to spin off the name. Yeah. It would have to become something completely different. Oh, man.
Pervert's always ruining everything.
But, yeah. So, when was your kind of first introduction into, like, voice actors?
That I actually was like,
excuse me,
these guys do voices.
Was it Harley Quinn?
Because I do remember at the time when Batman the Animated Series came out, I didn't pay attention to shit, like who played what or anything. Like actors in movies, I was like, okay, cool. Like, that's the guy that plays Han Solo is also Indiana Jones, and he's in The Fugitive. But when it came to voice actors, none of that ever clicked with me. Like, my dad was like, Joker's Luke Skywalker. I'm like, shut the fuck up. And then, like, I looked, I'm like, interesting. And then, going back to Adult Swim, when we would go to Comic-Con and meet those guys, I was like, oh, okay. And then I just started developing more and more of a respect for them, like going to their panels and listening to them talk and everything. And then, some of it was Harley because when Tara Strong took over for her in Arkham City, I was like, oh, hells no. Who's this bitch taking over for Arlene Sorkin, who was the original voice of Harley, up until Arkham Asylum.
Yeah, the video game.
Exactly. So they had Tara was there signing, because it had just come out. And I'm like, well, I mean, it's Harley Quinn. I should go meet a Harley Quinn, right? I was like, dang, girl, you cute. So, and she had this, a lot of the voice actors will have like a headshot of themselves with a bunch of their characters around.
Yeah.
I'm like, dang, she does a lot. And so
she was like Bubbles too, right?
Yeah.
Or one of the Powerpuff Girls?
Blossom?
Blossom?
No, Bubbles. You're right. She was Bubbles.
Give me that point. Trivia point.
Hollywood Squares.
X to block.
But yeah, and she's done so much. She was Ariel's daughter in The Little Mermaid 2, Princess Twilight. She's Ben from Ben 10. So she plays boys, Raven in Teen Titans, The Good Show and The Go Show. I don't mind Teen Titans Go. My oldest watched that one a lot. I kind of dug it. I know a lot of people hate on it and they want like the mature anime one to come back.
Mm-hmm.
Teen Titans Go was all right. But yeah, since then, as I gotten older, and again, the Adult Swim guys we would go see at Comic-Con, I just started like just listening to their stories, going to different panels with voice actors. I'm like, oh, these guys are kind of cool. So I learned something at Comic-Con. It wasn't all buying Star Wars toys and waiting in line.
Sitting in line for hours to buy a pin.
Yeah. And then now, as new cartoons come out, I'll look up the actors, the voice actors and stuff. The voice actors for the HBO Harley Quinn series. I'm like, oh, well, I wonder who's playing this and who's doing this role. And I'm like, oh, and they were also this. So,
and then you swing to the exact opposite side of all that, and you have the girl who did Ahsoka's voice, and that's like all she's ever done is Ahsoka's voice. But she's been able to spin that into
it's her whole personality.
Multiple businesses, and been able to be somewhat of like an ambassador for Star Wars and that type of thing. Like,
yeah, no, she does well. She's a very nice girl. I've met her a couple times. She does a lot of mental health positivity stuff for people within Star Wars. Like she puts her Star Wars spin on it and stuff.
Yeah, and she's married to a baseball guy, or was a baseball guy.
Yeah,
who now just probably sits at home and is like, "Bring home that money, baby." I'm glad you got a job that can last longer than 10 to 12 years.
He was on the Angels. I think he was on the Angels when they won the World Series, so I'm sure he's doing okay by himself.
Yeah. But he can just do local card shows and be.
There was something that I was watching with her. So she lives in Florida with her husband,
and
the guy that voices Mickey Mouse now, he came over and they it was like a home redesign show or something.
Huh. Okay.
What that was on. But yeah, like he came over, he helped her design some stuff for the house. Brett Ewan is his name. So he helped design some stuff for her house, and like they came back a couple months later and she had like this whole Alice in Wonderland theme in part of her house, and what the heck was that? I watch way too much stuff on Disney Plus. Random.
So you are their audience because they want you to just be watching random stuff on.
Yeah. There's a lot of good stuff on there though. The Imagineer story. Like the origins of Disneyland and stuff. It's actually really, really interesting.
Yeah. Yeah, I think I watched what was it called? It was like their first kind of behind the scenes thing that they came out on Disney. It was like once a day or something like that, where they they would follow somebody,
one of the workers. Yeah.
And it would just be their work throughout the day, which I thought was super cool. You got to see a lot of behind the scenes type stuff. Of course, all still very curated and very
positive and
because
years ago I watched another one about how a lot of the workers there are homeless and they live in their cars.
Yeah,
some of them just sleep in the car in the parking lot and just go to work tomorrow.
So they were doing that long before Google workers were doing that.
Exactly.
But I'm sure we could watch a show like that with your dad, and it'd be like, okay, we're going to make a right here. We're going to go down this hallway, and your dad'd be like, I bet make a left, and there's all this
cool though. He told me that when Guillermo del Toro, he did tours of Haunted Mansion and Pirates with him while they were getting ready to make all those movies and stuff.
Nice
autographs, pictures. No.
Yeah, nothing. Selfie. Nothing. Come on, right? Dad.
Ugh. Such disappointment. But when he retired, he did let us go through his Disney junk drawer, so that was cool. I got a bunch of pre-release stuff for Galaxy's Edge and cast member stuff, so that was cool.
Yeah, I remember back in the day when it was like, oh, your dad's going to let us into Disneyland. Oh, we got to be there at 7:30 because he's not going to wait.
Because that's when his break is.
Yeah, he's like, that's when his shift was over, and he'd be like, I'm not waiting around for you, so you better be here. Those were the days. Yeah, so that was Craven.
Yep, in a roundabout way.
Yeah. But yeah, we got 4 weeks till less than a month until, I guess, almost exactly a month before.
Yeah, it's Captain Valentine's weekend or something, yeah.
Yeah, which I think is kind of a weird weekend.
Yep.
I might try to put like a group thing together for it, but I'm kind of like, well, like Valentine's Day is on Friday, so I ain't going to do it on Friday. And I'm like, but like if people go away for the week, I mean, I don't know. I don't know how I haven't been in a relationship on Valentine's Day in fucking a decade, so I have no idea even like how serious people these days take it. Like, is it like we just go out to dinner and have a nice night evening? Is it I get home from work and we fucking just whatever? Like, or do we? Is it not even like a thing anymore? Like, I don't know.
It's more of a thing with my wife and I, but that's because when I was courting her on the interwebs back when we had dial-up.
Oh yeah.
That's actually how we.
I think I see a boob. Sorry.
Yeah, that 14.4K. Let's go.
Right, so back when you were courting her.
As a joke, I asked her if she'd be my Valentine because I didn't have nothing going on. Dumbass high school kid, right? And as a joke, she said yes. Womp womp. And now
20.
Exactly. So no, I mean, yeah, it all started as a joke, but also a lot of times, especially with my job, I'm working. This year I'm not working. She is.
Nice.
But we are going to go to Disneyland that weekend, so we are not watching Captain America until Monday.
Wait, you're not going to El Capitan? Come on. You know it's going to be dope there.
Probably.
Just saying. I can forward you my free chocolate cake for my birthday from Scum and Villainy Cantina, and you can use it. I'll call them and be like, my friend's coming in with my coupon.
Unless they're closed because of the fires still. I don't know how contained those fires are.
Yeah, I think they're open. I mean, I follow them on Instagram. It seems like they're doing stuff again. So I think a lot of the places that that weren't affected have kind of gone back to business as usual.
Right.
Speaking of that, did you know anybody who was affected or?
No. Like I said, we went to Disney last weekend. It wasn't bad at all. I mean, the skies looked clear when we were there, but we had lunch with my brother, and he said a couple days before that, smoke had blown in, and they had a little bit of ash. But for the most part, no, I mean, I don't be knowing millionaires. I mean, that shit, everybody's like Los Angeles, but that was like north where all the rich people are in Malibu and Palisades. Altadena, not so rich, but those people have been there for like generations. So yes, their houses are multi-million-dollar houses, but only because they've been there forever.
Right, and the whole area around them has,
exactly.
Pasadena and everything is all now very, very highfalutin.
Yeah, but no, I don't be knowing rich people. I feel bad for them. I see memes on the Facebooks and the Instagrams, and I'm like, oh, you guys are mean. There's like a Malibu Barbie and like half her body was burned. I was like, okay, rude.
Yeah, you might need to go talk to somebody.
Yeah, like people, like I couldn't even imagine my house burning down. But
yeah, well, and not just like your house, but like
everything.
Your entire block, like everything. Like it's one thing if like you do something stupid and leave the stove on and burn the house down, right? You have an electrical fire and your house burns down. That's super shitty. But when you drive blocks and it's just carcass after carcass of house, yeah. Like everybody on your block, like that's not something that you can recover from easily. Because especially like Altadena and stuff, the stuff that I was reading were, like you were saying, is generational. Like so many of those families had grown up together and were neighbors and knew each other from when they were born, and birthday parties and block parties and all of that kind of stuff all together. And now you're like, well, my insurance got cut off at the beginning of the year, so I don't know what I'm going to do. Like,
guess I'm moving to Vegas.
Right. I mean, that's the thing. I mean, it wouldn't surprise me. And that's, that was a big concern, like 2 years ago in Hawaii when that entire,
when the volcano was going or something. Yeah.
Yeah. I apologize for not remembering the city, but there was one city where like basically like 85% of the structures burned, in the city.
Yeah.
And they were like, don't sell your house, don't sell the property because people are coming in and buying it for pennies on the dollar and are going to redevelop it and make it, make more unaffordable housing for people. But then you have the insurance companies who are not doing anyone any favors either, But I don't know. That's a bigger conversation, I think.
That's way above my pay grade.
Exactly. Yep. So, but again, sympathies go out to all those people who lost homes and are in the transition period of trying to figure out what to do with their lives. Yep. Do not envy them at all.
No. I got 0 jokes on that. 0.
Yeah. And the people that are making jokes, go fuck yourself.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah. Oh, they're a celebrity. They deserve it. They have $1 million. No, it's not even about like the money or the property. It's like, again, the Altadena thing. It's the memories. It's the, I don't have a house. And I think, I think we talked about this earlier on during the podcast, but it's like me and you don't have like a home that's like our home. Right. You know what I'm saying? Like when your parents move on, like there isn't like a house that you're going to be like, oh no, I don't know what should I keep it? Should I move into it? Should I sell it? Like where my parents live, I lived for 6 months when I moved back to Oregon 12 years ago. I don't have like a childhood home. Right. And I So like, same. But a lot of those people do and did, so.
Well, because they're just working class people. Like they got normal jobs like we do. They aren't movie stars, It's just that they've lived in those houses forever. They can't afford to rebuild that house. If they don't have insurance, they're moving to freaking Long Beach or Inland Empire somewhere. Yeah. Somewhere that's
they're moving
cheaper.
To Riverside. Yeah.
Yeah.
Not Vegas. Vegas is fucking expensive as hell now.
Yeah, it is. So those people from California moved here.
There you go. But also respect for you guys sending people over to help out, sending firefighters and stuff. So, Yeah,
we sent a couple trucks out there, I think.
But yeah, I think there was 8 or 9 states and a couple different countries that sent.
Yeah. Yep. As they should.
And again, those videos of the water droppers, I'm always impressed by those things. Like how precise those guys can be and everything. Yep. It's just not to speak of it as like a positive thing, but.
I'm just saying, when I crop dust at Disneyland, I'm not as good as those guys are.
Right. Both in the ride and just walking around.
Yeah.
My accuracy, sometimes I double back and I regret it, is all I'm saying. Is I should have made a longer run before coming back.
I didn't empty the tank before I came back. All right, since Lou isn't here, Skeleton Crew. It ended last week.
Yep. First question, do you think there's going to be a season 2?
I hope so.
I don't think there will be. But, I think they did a good enough. I think you'll see spin-offs. I don't think you'll see a season 2.
Okay, I'll give you that because we need to. There's the memes and stuff, the articles going around. The Skeleton Crew had a debut rating, eyes on it, than Acolyte did, which I think is the Solo Last Jedi issue. Everybody hated Last Jedi, so nobody went to go see Solo. Everybody hated Acolyte, so they didn't watch Skeleton Crew. I think people came around to Skeleton Crew eventually because I've honestly heard nothing bad about it, except for from Lou.
The only things I've heard bad about it are the things that we've already talked about, as far as like it not being a show for them, right?
Right.
Like, it's once you can get past that, I am not a fan of the dumb people doing dumb stuff to progress the story. But as the season wore on, I tried to be more forgiving of that, knowing, well, otherwise they would just be sitting in the ship if nobody did.
Right, exactly.
Like, so sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off anywhere. So,
but overall, I liked it. I mean, it was good Star Wars entertainment. I don't want to be that guy that's like, well, it's Star Wars, so it's good. But I enjoyed it. It was something that we haven't seen from Star Wars yet. I liked that there weren't technically Jedi involved. Jod, we found out his origin story. He was some sort of Force-sensitive orphan. I think post-Order 66, some undercover Jedi found him, got him a thing or two, and then the Inquisitors got her. Which I think would make a cool story too. Comics, Tales of the Jedi, something. I wouldn't mind seeing that. Little orphan Jod, and I don't know, some random Jedi, I guess. Somebody else survived Order 66. They were not as good as they were back in 1977.
I saw something that said that there was they were already up to like 200 Jedi who survived.
Right?
Which again, 20%. I mean, when you're talking about thousands, right? You're still talking single percentage points. But
Yeah.
it's always funny when you see somebody post that online somewhere when they announce like another book or comic book or whatever that has like, oh, this is Cal Kestis is here and he's a Jedi. And it's like, okay, well, now we're up to 287 Jedi who survived Order 66,
Those Inquisitors were not as good as they were led to believe.
Yeah.
Or well, and I mean, back in 77 when Darth Vader did it by himself.
Yeah, exactly. When he just drove around in his TIE fighter, just the Executor just
hunted down and destroyed the Jedi.
But yeah, I mean, I thought the finale was fine. I thought,
it wrapped up well.
Yeah, I'm glad that in some respects, because of how they've handled the structure in other shows, I'm glad that it was just Jod telling us the story as opposed to a weird flashback thing.
In the
nice thing is that like you were saying, now that leaves it open for that story to be told down the road in another medium, right? Like whether that's a comic or a book or another, Tales of the Jedi, an anthology type of thing.
Right.
That maybe not all good Jedi were good, right? Like, because there's a window, I feel like with all of the training that you go through, that there's a window where you got to make choices, where the person being trained, the Padawan, has to make choices.
Right.
And if the person who was kind of guiding them met their demise during one of those choices, I could easily see them.
Well, it's at the cave on Dagobah. If you stop your training now, you're going to be Darth Vader. So I think that Jod did not have that moment, or that moment came and he didn't know better than to continue down that path and become a pirate.
Yeah. Where if that Jedi, whoever that unnamed Jedi was able to stay in his life, might have been able to correct that path.
And then also, like Anakin, he had known a life before the Jedi. He was a street rat, so he already had that personality built in, and they couldn't train it out of him. But again, like we said, the Tales of the Jedi, cool. I guess probably more Tales of the Empire, since it would be after Order 66. But still, it'd be a cool story to see, just to see, how Jod came about.
I think that there's also something to be said for just the nature of a person, right? Like, I think Anakin would have fallen at some point, regardless of the training and everything else, because his inherent nature was jealousy, and because again, he was raised with a single mom as a slave, right? So you see all of these, he already has this, his base, his foundation of his life is to always be looking up and always wanting more and always wanting to be better, right? Better being higher, right? Like being on a higher social scale. So you even saw it in like episode 3 when he was talking about them only making him a knight and not letting him on the council, and him not being excited about becoming a knight, being upset that they didn't put him on the council, right?
Right.
So that was his whole through line was, and whether it was the blindness of the Jedi to not identify that, for good or bad. Like, you see him throughout the whole thing, and every single time something pushes against him, he would react violently and negatively towards it, right? There was never a moment where he, there was never a moment of reflection for himself, right? It was always somebody else's fault. It was always something out to get him. It was always someone out to get him, He never took responsibility for anything he did throughout all of this. Yeah, like, because he never learned how to, right? Like, even when we met him in episode 1, like, he already was a petulant, very, very smart, but smart doesn't mean
smooth pimp. Call them foreign chicks at angels.
There you go. But again, that's, follow through, right? You get the love of your life and then you get told that she's going to die. And you're like, wait, what do you mean?
Yeah.
Whether that manifests through the Force or what, again, that's the Force, right? The Force, nobody knows what the Force actually is telling you, right? But he took all the wrong lessons from it, Instead of taking
that's That's probably what Jod's issue is. He grew up a street rat, so now he's a powerful street rat because he has the Force. He's now a pirate. So wants treasure. But also the same thing, he wanted to lead that crew too. When they finally got back there, he did not hesitate at all to kill Homeboy when he was caught in that claw. Yeah. Just like zap.
Well, and again, how are the only thing that would be interesting is if we jumped into the future to see where the kids are at, because the kids basically manifested that into happening.
Yeah,
because they're the ones that fought. They're the ones that set that up. You know, so whoever hit that button, whether it was KB or whoever, you know, wouldn't have been Neil. Neil wouldn't have done that because he's perfect.
Yeah, like his hair.
Again, that was my favorite scene with the spaceship, the pirate ship comes out of the atmosphere. Neil's in the tub. I'm like, that's my boy. He's like, you know, I just got back from this harrowing adventure. I am dirty as fuck. I'm gonna go take a bath.
My hair needs attention.
Yep.
It was out of place on that weird pirate planet that we were on. I gotta go. I need to get my do done. I need to get my hair did.
But
it was good. It wrapped up nicely. It left it open or not. I mean, maybe we never hear from those kids again. Who knows where Jod went? I mean,
I'm very glad that they did not force cameos at the end, especially when with the X-Wings, because they could have easily
totally could have been Carson.
Yeah, they totally could have had Filoni and you know, Wolf,
all the
Trapper.
Directors.
Yeah, they could have easily dumped all of the cameos of people who have been in X-Wings previously and survived.
That's true.
As the group that saves them, you know.
Right.
So I'm glad that they just made generic.
Random. Yeah.
And again, seeing the B-Wings do what you saw in art form 45 years ago, you know, like,
oh, they do focus their lasers like that.
Yeah, they can. They have the ability to do that. Oh, it's way more than just dropping bombs out of the bottom of but and I was fine with it. I didn't, you know, I mean, you knew that it was going to end the way that it was going to end, but
none of them were going to die. The kids were going to be fine.
The parents
could have gone either way.
Yeah.
But he lived. I wouldn't say he's a sympathetic character, but he's a good bad guy, a good foil, almost like Hondo. You know, he's not a good person, but he's interesting enough to keep around.
Well, and with the right incentives, he can be a good person. Right?
Yeah.
But I also think, too, I mean, you saw him break once he saw the ship crash, where he realized, like, he lost the gold. He lost he lost his leadership, right? Who is he leading now, you know?
Yep. He was a crewless pirate.
Yep. So it'll be interesting to see where he goes from there. Because, I mean, they all just kind of left him alone.
Yeah, they like bounced on him. They're like, oh, we got to go save KB from our ship.
Yeah. I thought it was interesting. The supervisor died super quick.
Right?
I was like, wait, it's not redundant. It's like literally like his brain is right behind the eye socket and that's it. Like, okay, we're done.
Just Qui-Goned him.
Yeah. But I mean, I thought it was nice that the parents got involved at the end and then finally realized like what
turned around a little bit.
You know, yeah. So,
but it'd also be interesting to see how that fits in with the High Republic. And I don't know. It's a good jumping off point for a lot of spin-offs, I think. Further adventures, either before the kids or after. Like, do they join the Resistance?
Or do they join the Republic? Like, where do they fit? Yeah. I'm glad that all of the stuff that I was reading and listening, you know, watching online was Palpatine's going to show up. So I'm glad none of that happened.
Yeah.
I'm glad it's beyond kind of the X-Wings and B-Wings and the mentions of the Republic. I'm glad that it was a very self-contained story in that regard, you know?
As it should be. Because again, not everything has to be connected.
Yeah, we don't have to have every story end up with, you know, Obi-Wan showing up saying, you know, Jod,
get my trench coat.
Jod, I can fix you. You know.
Yeah.
All 4 kids under his trench coat.
Get my trench coat, kids. It'll be fine.
Just be quiet.
Nobody else suspect us at all. And why I have 2 blue feet.
The best blue feet in the world.
Wait, does Neil wear feet? Does Neil wear shoes? I don't even know.
I'm sure it's just feet.
Right?
Yeah. Full body picture of Neil.
Right?
Are you Googling that right now?
Neil feet pics.
Onlyfans.com/Neil feet.
A Neil is a type of boat. It's a trimaran.
Well, that's with perfect hair.
Right?
I didn't know boats had hair.
Skeleton crew. Right? Dang, even Wikipedia doesn't know what he is.
Well, they never actually... They just said he wasn't Max Rebo, right?
Yeah. Oh, no, it is here. It's a Mykian, Mykian, and they are blue elephantine creatures.
Okay, so he probably has elephant feet.
Right?
Elephant-adjacent feet.
Right? Those sweet toes. Probably got his toes done.
Heck yeah. His mom did. Guaranteed.
Yep. For sure, for sure. No, he does have shoes. His figure has shoes.
Little kicks.
Yeah.
I stand
good
corrected.
For him. Good for you, Neil. Finding some
good
elephant
for you for
shoes.
being able to afford shoes.
Right?
We don't actually have any Star Wars coming up, do we?
Nah, dude. I haven't heard
nothing's
anything.
Been announced.
Yeah.
That's good. I'm okay with that.
Yeah, I let it rest for a hot minute.
Well, I mean, I think it goes back to what we talked about a couple weeks ago, or when Skeleton Crew first came out. Just the is it? Are we getting the fire hose right now?
Right.
Can we go back to the trickle?
Yep.
Where we appreciated what we had, as opposed to being spoiled by it, and then
we can absorb it and dissect it, and then we get something new.
Yeah, as opposed to it being just a fire hose that's just, you don't have time to think about it, or you're just like, oh shit, another thing I gotta watch. Which I think is something that Disney has handled really badly for the last 4 years with Marvel and Star Wars. All of their properties, really.
I mean, at this point, they might as well just wait for Celebration. It's 3 months away. Just give us everything there and say, hey, this and this is coming. Well, I guess we have Andor.
Yeah.
It's coming out right after Celebration.
Yeah.
So I guess we do have something Star Wars coming up.
But I mean, again, that's 3 months away. So I'm cool with that. I don't need to have a night where Skeleton Crew's ending and Andor is starting. Right.
Right. Yeah.
Just let it go for 3 months. Not talk about Star Wars at all. Let us just talk about old Star Wars and our history with Star Wars. That type of thing.
I'll probably download all of Andor for the flight.
Yeah.
Rewatch it.
Did either of your kids watch Skeleton Crew with you?
No.
No interest?
My wife didn't. Yeah. So I just watched it Tuesday night when I got off of work, and they're mostly in bed. Little one's for sure in bed. Big one's just on her phone texting her friends. So I do need to make them watch Falcon and Winter Soldier, though. That sets up all the Marvel movies for this year.
Mm-hmm. Well, not Fantastic Four, but yeah.
No, but
Fantastic Four is 2026, right?
No, that's the summer, dude.
Is that
I think
summer?
It's May. I think it's May.
Okay.
Which is
I know we went over all this stuff, but
we'll probably get a teaser with Hulk.
Yeah. For sure.
Yeah.
100%. That'll be the official one.
Yeah.
Yeah, we have Captain America: Brave New World, Fantastic Four, and then Thunderbolts. So I think we have Thunderbolts between Fantastic Four and Captain America, right?
No, I think Thunderbolts is summer.
Well, both are summer, right?
Yeah, but I think June or July summer for Thunderbolts.
Thunderbolts is May 2nd.
Okay.
So 3 months.
Is before. Yeah.
3 months. And then Fantastic Four is July 25th, so the end of summer, really.
So Comic-Con. All right. So we're watching Superman and Fantastic Four at a Comic-Con.
And then we have the Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man, which isn't canon, January 20th. Daredevil, March 4th.
Hells yeah. That last trailer was badass.
Yeah. Ironheart, June 4th. And then the next animated Marvel series after Spider-Man is Eyes of Wakanda, August 6th. Yep. And then Marvel Zombies in October. Hell yeah.
And then Wonder Man's the end of the year or something.
Yeah, December. That'll be a limited series, just introducing them. Which, again, I'm fine with. I am perfectly fine with, if you want to do limited series to introduce characters and get them into the zeitgeist, cool. I don't need to have them overstuff. The next
Avengers movie.
Yeah, I don't need to have them overstuff a movie that already probably has too many heroes in it. There's one person that can manage that, and he's over on the other side.
Yeah, he is. Well, that was always my problem with Batman versus Superman and Justice League as well. when Zack Snyder was doing them. He's like, okay, here, this is Batman vs Superman, but also Aquaman's origin, the Flash's origin, Cyborg's origin, Wonder Woman's origin. I'm like, can Batman and Superman just fight? Talk about Martha?
Yeah. The fact that only Wonder Woman got a movie before Justice League,
Exactly.
outside of Superman and Batman.
No, Batman didn't even. That was the first time.
Oh, you're right. That was the first time that Batfleck was the first.
Yeah.
Which is fine if it would have been the only character that they would have introduced.
Right.
So,
but it wasn't.
Yeah.
And that's why James Gunn is in charge. Lou's not here to talk about freaking Creature Commandos. We'll have to save that for next week.
Yeah. Did you watch it?
Yeah, I finished it. Yeah.
Well, he hadn't watched it yet, right?
No, he had watched up to
4 or something like that.
Right before they went back to the country.
Yeah.
Wait, what's his face? The skeleton dude?
Dr. Phosphorus.
When he was walking through the tanks. And he just burned a middle finger right through those dudes' heads. I was dying. I'm like, hold up, I gotta pause this.
That show had way more blood than Craven did.
But yeah, no, we'll talk about that next week when Lou's around. But I enjoyed the heck out of it. I'm ready for season 2. It could start tomorrow. I'd be perfectly happy.
Yeah. I'm interested to see how they fit into everything.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see if like freaking Bride shows up or they let Weasel back out to do something.
I'm trying to temper my excitement, but I think Superman will be awesome. I'm really glad that we're clearing. I think DC has needed to do this for a while, but I'm really glad they're clearing the slate. And for the most part, everything will be new going forward.
Yeah. Hey, if all we keep is Suicide Squad and Peacemaker, I'm okay.
Yeah.
There's nothing wrong with either of those. So,
and only like 95% of Peacemaker.
Yeah.
We'll just cut out that last scene of them walking through the field. But yeah, we have that coming up too for it's some point soon, right? Peacemaker season 2.
Yeah, I think they're done filming. So
that's why John Cena's back on wrestling television.
Exactly. Right. Peacemaker season 2. Let's see.
We'll have to do an episode that we talk about that our shared love of wrestling is what really, I think, besides Star Wars,
right,
brought us together.
Blah, blah, blah. When does it come out? November. Wait, no, that was November 2024. August of 25. A month after Superman.
Okay.
All right. I'm down. I just hope that the opening is as
supposedly
good.
The new opening is supposed to be fire. Just what I read. The new opening is going to be fire.
It says Frank Grillo's going to be in Peacemaker
as Crossbones
Flag Senior. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Acceptable.
I think he's
that'll
the
be
first...
interesting.
Wait, was Crossbones DC or Marvel? I don't remember.
That was DC or Marvel. He was the SHIELD agent, and then he's the one that blew up in Civil War that started the Wakanda Accords
after his amazing elevator fight with Cap.
Yep. So do you guys want to get out, or
do we want to do it here? So I think that'll be the first official crossover between the new...
I mean, depending on what they throw into Superman.
Well, I mean, I guess technically the first crossover would be David Harbour as Red Guardian and Frankenstein.
Oh, yeah, like that way? Yeah, for sure.
So that'll be interesting if DC wants to keep those people doing, like, if they're one character through all media. But I mean, Frank is going to be a CGI character.
I mean, that's
like
voices. I didn't watch David Harbour's Hellboy yet, so I don't know how well he does in makeup. But Frank's too big. He would have to be CG.
Yeah, that's the thing. I mean, regardless how big you are, I think. But
do they keep him on set though? Like, and just put the balls on him and like have the head on a stick so that people can interact with him properly?
Yeah, I mean, they'll just film everything twice, right? They'll film once with him with the eye lines, so then everybody has the right eye lines, and then they'll film him once without. So
I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah, but no, I really enjoyed Creature Commandos as well. I thought it was very well done. I thought it was a good story.
Mm-hmm.
It was a self-contained story, but I felt like the references were relevant. Like it wasn't just pushing.
They introduced Batman. I mean, they introduced Batman, the new Batman.
Yeah, and Amanda Waller,
a Flash.
Yeah, They already introduced Themyscira with Cersei. So instead of like it being Wonder Woman, it's this is other side
it's
character.
already a thing with a bunch of Amazon lesbians.
Yeah. So with that being said, I don't know how Lou wouldn't be into that.
Right.
But
I don't know. We'll have to get his take on it.
Yeah.
See if he's drinking all that haterade still.
I think Lou just has very high expectations of a lot of the media that we imbibe these days.
Just sit down and enjoy it. I don't know. Just sit down. You don't have to overthink everything. Just enjoy what they're putting on the screen. Call it a day. If it sucks, don't watch it anymore.
Yeah. I mean, that's what it boils. And again, just because I don't like something and you like something doesn't mean that you have to stop watching it because I'm not.
Oh, yeah, no.
There's plenty of shit that I've watched over the last, 47 years on this, for almost 48, 47 years on this planet.
Old.
I know, huh? That I would not suggest to anybody else, right? Like, it's stuff that's just, I've watched enough stuff that there's enough of it that I don't suggest to people where I enjoy it, but I'm not going to advocate for it, So, like, I watched Landman. Landman was stupid, like,
Ellie Larder was naked, though, so...
Yeah, that, but...
See, I almost started that, so is it not good?
No, it's good. But again, it's one of those ones where you definitely have to check your brain at the door, because a lot of the talking points and stuff like that, you're just like, okay, like,
Right,
but again, it's my understanding it's a Taylor Sheridan show, so all the girls in there are hot as hell. There's no uglies anywhere to be found, Even like the dishwasher shows up and collects the dishes. And, you're just like, wait, you're just cleaning, you're just the dishwasher.
Yes, I have a less than minimum wage job and I got a huge boob implant.
Yeah, exactly. I only have one though. I'm working on the other, but no, I mean, like, and again, I mean,
it has Billy Bob in it. So I was like, I like Billy Bob and Ellie Larder's naked.
Billy Bob's being Billy Bob. And for me personally, I enjoy when Billy Bob's being Billy Bob, right? Like,
agreed.
You could just say,
Santa
hey,
is perfect.
Literally, they just went, hey, Billy, can you just read this stuff on the screen or on the, read this line from the script? And that's it. Like, it's not.
Like, you know what? Don't even read the script, Billy. This is a general idea of who your character is. Just react to these people talking.
So, I mean, is it a great show? No. But is it watchable? Yes. 100%.
Okay.
But what I advocate for, what I tell, if somebody didn't come to me and say, hey, what did you think of Landman? I'm not going to preach about it from the...
Like, hell yeah. Watch that shit.
I'm not going to be on the pulpit going, you should watch this. I mean, I never watched Yellowstone. I think I watched one episode of Yellowstone, or the prequel that had Harrison Ford, so it should be like right in our wheelhouse.
Right.
But on the other hand, I'll take a show like Shrinking and say, oh yeah, like, should I get a month of Apple TV free to watch this? Yes, I think that's, would I pay for Apple TV? Apple TV has, I mean, again, it depends on do you like Silo? Do you like, the problem is that they have a bunch of their own IP that isn't going to lead people to Apple TV, if that makes sense.
Hey, we got the new Ben Affleck movie. And you're like, do I like Ben Affleck that much?
But if we said we got Marvel,
then
like,
yes, sign me up. Let's go.
Right. Like, that's the difference, right? Is if there's something that interests you on Apple TV, I think it's worth it. Because I do think that once you get there, there's a bunch of other stuff, Severance and Silo, and a bunch of other of those types of shows, like kind of non-mass IP shows that you would enjoy. I mean, Silo has Rebecca Ferguson in it, and she is... If she's not on your 5 free, I don't know what to tell you, my friend.
You need to readjust that list.
Yeah, no shit. We need to have a conversation about that list, because it's wrong.
You might be gay.
Doesn't matter. I would still waste a spot on my list for the chance.
Brad Pitt and David Duchovny and Rebecca Ferguson.
But yeah, so I would say, I would say Landman's worth the watch just to,
I already have Paramount, so it's there.
Well, and that just wrapped up too. I think season 1 just wrapped up.
Yeah, I think so.
So
I think it was the Mr. Skin weekly email that brought it to my attention. I'm like, let's see.
I am, I'm going to have to start digging in the crates, I think, for a little bit here, because I think there's not a whole lot of new TV coming out.
No.
We got Harley Quinn.
We're watching. Yeah, that just started. We're finishing up 911. I mean, I dig it. Even though
when it comes to shows like that, are you able to check yourself out? Like,
yes, because depending on which one you're watching, like if you're watching regular 911, it's Jennifer Love Hewitt. She's like the only dispatcher in all of LA. And every call she takes, she sends the same fire crew and the same officers to. And then after the call, she goes to the break room to have a coffee and a tea while she talks about her feelings to her coworkers. I'm like, bitch, pound a monster and take the next call. We don't have time for feelings.
I don't got time for you to sit in this break room for 45 minutes exploring your humanity.
And then right now, we're caught up on that one. So right now we're watching Lone Star, which is the Texas one. And again, it's the same thing. It's the one kid. He's the son of one of the firefighters.
Yeah.
He just got through training. And like his first day on the job, they had him do this train derailment with a fucking toxic cloud. And I'm like, no, kick that kid off. He's been released. He's been through training for like a day. And he takes call. He's like, hey, my name's Wyatt. How can I help you? I'm like, shut the fuck up. You give her your last name, your badge number. The fuck do you want?
So you find it more as a comedy than anything else.
Again, I can turn my brain off and I just enjoy what they're giving me. I like those kind of shows, cop shows and all that stuff. I like this one interested me because they did show the dispatcher side of it. Is it kind of fake, kind of silly? Yes, but I can turn my brain off and just enjoy the dumb storyline. I don't mind that stuff.
There's no way that the same person is going to get the one call that you're told about when you first go into training every single week, right? Like,
exactly.
The one call that's going to, like, you're going to change people's lives, right?
Yeah.
And then, like, oh, okay, that happens once in my lifetime. Okay. And then you're like, oh, good, I got through that and I survived. Yeah. Hello, this is Jennifer Love Hewitt. How can I help you? What the fuck? Another one?
Exactly. So
3 seasons in, and I'm still getting the call of the century.
Last season, I had the B NATO, and this year I got the sinking cruise ship. This is crazy.
The helicopter
and I'll
stuck
just
in
send
the
my brother and his fire company on every single call I get.
Because they happen to be the only ones that answer the call.
They're the only ones that work in all of LA County.
Yeah. And weirdly, the guy who's been around for 3 seasons is still a rookie on the police car that I call every single call.
Every single call. So, yes, I can turn my brain off. I just enjoy what is being presented. I don't have to overthink everything. That's the problem I have with Lou hating everything we watch. Just shut up and watch it.
Or don't.
Or don't. Yeah.
Yeah.
I just turn my brain off. I just watch it. I enjoy it. I like it. I don't. I won't watch it next week. I won't watch it next season. And then I don't think about it anymore. It's the same thing like with my job. I turn that shit off as soon as I'm done. I'm out.
Yeah.
Same thing with TV, unless it's really good or really bad, I guess. But just turn it off. Enjoy it while it's on for 45 minutes, hour with commercials. Move on.
Yeah, I've definitely forgotten about more TV than I remember.
Yeah,
watching.
Yeah. And then we're watching. They're doing a Dexter prequel series on Paramount right now, so I'm enjoying that. I've always liked Dexter. Like, I read the books, enjoyed it, so it was cool to. I'm like, okay, cool. I mean, I'll watch it. The casting they did is really good. They are very good counterparts for their older, and it has Christian Slater in it. I always like watching.
Is that the original Sin?
Yes.
Is that the one that was they were promoting that Comic-Con big time, right?
Yes. Yeah. So it's good. It's how Dexter started being a serial killer and all that shit. And then after that, this summer, they're going to have a sequel series because in the last season, Dexter died again. So like when the original series ended, he died and became a lumberjack or some shit. Years later, they brought it back. And then Dexter's son's old and looking for him. And then he died again at the end of that. But now he's going to be... It's Dexter Resurrection or some shit. So, whatever. But again, I enjoy it. I like the characters. I like the silly stories. Just entertain me for an hour. That's all I ask. If I like it, I'll keep watching. If I don't, I'm done.
I will say that out of everything that I watched in the last year, that Werewolves was the most disappointing thing I watched by far.
Right. And so you're just like, nope, I don't recommend watching it, and you move on. You don't even think about it no more.
Unless you want to watch a movie that just doesn't make any sense at all throughout the entire thing.
Well, that happened. We were flipping through movies, and that movie Strays with the Will Ferrell and Kevin Hart.
Oh, they're all voicing the dogs? Yeah.
Yeah. I was like, I want to watch that. I'm like, no, you don't. No, you do not. I watched that shit while I was on Graves and staying up one night. Do not watch it. It was horrible. All the funny stuff was in the commercials.
Yeah.
Just watch the trailer for an hour and a half. And
just watch it on repeat.
Yeah. So I don't enjoy everything I watch.
I did watch George R. Romero's Resident Evil. So it's a documentary that, like, originally when Resident Evil came out, they actually had signed George Romero to do the original Resident Evil movie.
Oh. Wow.
And just all of the stuff behind that. I mean, they stretched it into like an hour and a half, and I don't know if it needed to be an hour and a half, but I get if you're wanting to be a completionist, like,
right.
So I mean, it wasn't just about the movie, it was about Resident Evil. It was almost like they should have just been like the origins of Resident Evil through,
right.
Because George Romero was involved a lot in the documentary, but they also spent like the first 45 minutes just talking about the game and how it was developed. And they had interviews with the people who originally developed the game and stuff, which was pretty cool. But like, if you're watching it for the George Romero stuff,
right.
like,
you're like,
yeah,
can we go?
Then they do like a quick biography of him. And then then they talk about what happened to him and through all of that. And like, in a way, to be honest with you, like at the end, it was kind of weird because they didn't really.
It wasn't resolved.
Yeah, like he was on there and then he wasn't, and then he was annoyed about it, and then had come to terms. Like, it was kind of a nothing burger, to be completely honest with you. Like, as far as like nobody, I mean, they didn't get anybody who actually was involved in the decision making process of Romero not being associated with it anymore. And so that part was kind of weird because I'm watching it, I'm like, okay, well, when are we going to get to the part that they
said no?
And then they kind of were like, well, then all of a sudden he just was removed from all the marketing materials. And you're like, okay, well, why? Like,
and credits.
Yeah. I was just like, okay. I mean,
Enjoy
it was a fine documentary. It was shot in the style of like 80s. Because he actually, I didn't know this, that I guess he had shot some commercials promoting the second one, Biohazard 2 or Resident Evil 2. So George Romero had shot like 3 different commercials to promote that movie. That was kind of his, like, where they made the connection to start with.
Right.
And a lot of it was a very, it was the early 90s. And so like stuff was still like hyper grainy, dark.
Right.
And the whole documentary kind of followed that. So it was kind of hard sometimes to watch because it was just so dark.
You're checking your upload speed and your download speed. Like, my router fucked up.
Yeah, what's going on? But I mean, if you're interested in that type of stuff, I mean, I think it's a good companion piece to whatever information that you knew before.
That's cool.
There was stuff I didn't know, but I also am not I've never been like a massive Resident Evil head, a dead head, as it were. A
That's
T-head.
Something else.
T-head? T-virus head? I don't know.
All right. Nope, that's something else too. Hi. Max Headroom.
But yeah. I mean, there's a bunch of. But then my problem is I download so much stuff that it just like I'll be sitting there like going through my movies, like, okay, what do I feel like watching? And I know like when I downloaded that, I'm like, yeah. But then like that moment passes, and I never like any other time I see that going forward, I'm just like maybe later. Do I want to watch another 9/11 documentary? No, not really. But it's there in case I'm feeling like it at some point, So yeah,
I still want to watch the Jim Henson one on Disney Plus. That one, I think there's a John Williams one too. I think recently, yeah.
I think Lou said he had watched that.
Yeah,
I started watching I had a friend who was like, "Oh, can you download Hysteria for me?" Which is a Peacock show that has Bruce Campbell in it.
Okay.
So it's a, it's kind of a horror, evil, like not Evil Dead, but just a town called Sleepy Grounds or Sleepy something or Happy Grounds, happy, like, and then like weird things start happening, and
Then
yeah, it's
hysteria
interesting.
ensues.
What's that?
Then hysteria ensues.
Yes, Hysteria is currently in. I think I'm 4 episodes in. Hysteria is currently it's bubbling. The Hysteria has been turned up to high, and the town is bubbling right now. So, but not a bad show.
All right.
Not something I probably would like profess to be like everyone should watch it. But if you like Bruce Campbell and you like that type of show, yeah. If you like that type of show where it's just kind of, it's my only complaint about it is it's a little too glossy. Like it just has like a sheen over it, and maybe that's the Peacock NBC sheen. Like, I mean, I think we talked about that at some point in the past too, how CBS has like a certain filter that seems to go over all of their shows. And ABC, same thing. And NBC, so this definitely has the NBC sheen on it where everything's kind of a little too bright, a little too. So that would probably be my biggest complaint. The kids are fine. The families are fine. Speaking of that, the guy who voiced Nathan Drake in the Uncharted is the dad of one of the kids.
Oh, nice.
Like I said, Bruce Campbell's in it. The mom from Modern Families in it. One of the girls from Pitch Perfect plays like a church mom who's like fighting the occult, but is probably part of the occult. Like, there's a lot of like layers like that where there's like, I think I'm possessed, and then it's like, oh no, it's actually this other person type of like, So not a bad show. It's not something that I'm like powering through, but if I'm like sitting there and I'm like, I got 45 minutes to kill, I'll bang out an episode.
All right.
Don't know if it's a one and done or not. I haven't actually looked into it as far as if it's coming back for season 2 or whatever.
Yeah,
there you go.
I don't think we're watching anything else.
My TV picks of the week. Right. I don't even think there's any movies out right now to watch.
No,
nothing's coming out, dude. And nothing's coming out before Captain America.
We're going to watch Dogman.
Which one's that one? Is that the one with Robbie Williams?
No, that's
Monkey, where he's like a monkey or something.
No, it's the one with it's the cartoon with the dog head and the cop body.
Okay, sure.
Clearly, that wasn't on one of your trailer lists.
Yeah, exactly.
It's based on a kid's book.
Okay.
And the trailer has this cop and his dog. They're disarming a bomb, and the dog goes grrr, and the cop's like, green? Snip. And he's like, wait, dogs are colorblind. Boom. They both blow up. Then it cuts to the hospital, and there's 2 nurses. Well, maybe they're doctors. I don't know. I was just being sexist because they're female. So the dog's body is all bandaged up, and the cop's head is bandaged up. And they're like, I know. Let's sew the dog's head onto the cop's body. So now he's like a dog cop. It's probably dumb as hell, but the girls read it in school, so they're like, yeah, let's go see it. I'm like, whatever. I need to get to platinum anyways, so let's go.
Daddy needs to get to platinum, so whatever movie you want to see, let's go.
Yeah, let's go. No, I thought the Robbie Williams movie looked entertaining, or at least interesting, just because he was a monkey. Because I'm sure Robbie Williams is boring as hell as just a regular British guy anyways.
I don't think it did very well in the theater.
Man? A perfect man? Is that what it is? A perfect man?
I think you're right. Perfect,
yeah.
I think
but because nobody here knows who Robbie Williams is.
Yeah. It was one of those trailers they showed before Complete Unknown, and everybody in the group was like, what? Like,
right?
Because it was like a 30-second trailer that explained nothing.
Well, and then the one that I saw was like the full trailer. I'm like, oh, that's cool. It's like Planet of the Apes, but this guy's like a singing monkey. And they're like, Robbie Williams. I'm like, wait, isn't that a singer? And then I looked into it more when I got home. I'm like, I mean, I'll watch it. I don't think I'll go to the movies to watch it. I couldn't even name a Robbie Williams song, honestly.
Word. I don't think he was ever in our genre. Like, he wasn't a genre that we reached out.
I mean, he's no Harry Styles.
Yeah, exactly. No Watermelon Sugar up in here.
Yeah.
So who do you like next week between the Bills and the Chiefs?
I hope the Bills. I'm all in on the Bills.
And then
the Bills Mafia. I believe Bill leave.
Bill leave. Gonna go through a table on Saturday.
Yeah.
Nice.
Singing Mr. Brightside.
Nice. And then we have the Eagles and Eagles and the Commies. So who do you like in that one?
Probably the Commanders. I don't I don't really have skin in that game. I mean, the Philly fans are assholes, so maybe they should lose.
Yeah. I would be okay with a Bills Commanders Super Bowl. I think that would be. I think as far as my interest level, that would be the game that would have me most interested in watching.
Right.
Any other combination, I'd be like, it's fine.
Yeah.
I'll invite some friends over. We'll watch halftime.
Exactly.
I don't even think halftime is that exciting this year.
It's Kendrick Lamar.
Oh yeah. Were you your $2,600 tickets or whatever?
Yeah. Preview of that.
Yeah, actually, you're just getting the whole show. You're getting the whole show at halftime. So, good job spending money on those tickets just so you can.
Yep.
It's like when you go watch a comedian's show on Netflix and then you go see him in person. You're like,
this is exactly the same. I know this joke.
You're telling it. You're giving the punchline as he's giving the joke. All right, mouth is going dry.
That's because we have to do all the talking because Lou's not here to ramble.
Yeah, we haven't had a 45-minute Lou rant about the end of democracy or anything.
Or football and all the weird rules. And
Yeah. Or him just saying, well, that's the way the rule is.
His refusal to hate the Chiefs. Like, just join that bandwagon, Lou. Just hate the Chiefs like everybody else does.
Please, for the love of God. You hate Taylor Swift, just let that manifest into hating.
Just let it bleed over.
I heard she's going to become the offensive coordinator. Just saying.
Which is easy when you just pay the refs.
Yeah, exactly. But, wow.
That means it's time to go.
I know, huh?
Sleeping. And, strangely enough, we still filled an hour and a half.
Yeah, nice job. Well done.
We're so entertaining.
And I mean, it wasn't even, I'll be interested to see what happens after it cuts it down. Because I don't even think there was that much dead space.
No, we talked a lot.
Yeah.
It's weird. 26 years of friendship, we can still talk for an hour and a half about different things.
Yeah, it's good. Glad that we're still friends, my friend. Like, glad that we.
It doesn't last. I don't think friendships really last that long.
Yeah,
honestly.
So, this is just an abnormality,
right? Or weird,
but still happy to be your friend. Still happy that our relationship has gone through the many trials and tribulations that has ensued over the last 26 years, in and out of our control.
Right? That's because we're so cool.
I mean, so we just set the bar really high for our relationship. So, obviously there's something there. So,
obviously. Gay.
Hey, like you said, if you lean in to kiss me, just do it. Don't judge.
Yeah. It's not gay.
It's not gay unless you get excited. Wait,
exactly. Wait, what?
But cool. All right, sir. Well, you have a good week. Out.
We will check on Lou, and hopefully we're all back next week and kicking ass again.
Yep. 3 asses getting kicked.
3 asses.
The 3 amigos back together.
Hopefully Lou wears his pants.
Let's not set the bar too high. Everyone, have a good week, and we'll see you next week.
Bye.